Back in Lincoln, and Husker Nation greets Bo Pelini and his Nebraska Cornhuskers. Ranked 5th in the country, their highest ranking since 2001. They've won 6 in a row dating back to last year, and 11 of their last 12. The only blemish during that time, the loss to Texas in the Big 12 title game. 75-degree day, just delightful, and we're delighted to have you with us from Lincoln. The kickoff in a moment. And it's time for today's rivalry recap, brought to you by Dr. Pepper. Texas has the all-time edge in play. They've won 5 in a row head-to-head, including the last 4 here in Lincoln. Nebraska hasn't defeated Texas since the 1999 Big 12 championship game, but the games have been close. The last 9 have been decided on average by less than a touchdown. Here's Quint Kessenich down on the field.
Guys, the overwhelming theme in Lincoln, revenge and redemption. This is a t-shirt that's been on sale at the school bookstore. The Nebraska players actually adopted a similar slogan, 1 second and the word finish, for their off-season workouts. But Bo Pelini, their head coach, won't talk about revenge. He said he's more concerned about Texas screens and draws. Either way, emotions run high here today. You can read it on their faces. You can read it on the t-shirts.
Many of the games have been excruciating in this rivalry. Each of the last 3, including the Big 12 championship game, decided by 3 points or fewer. 7 of the 13 all-time meetings decided by 4 points or less. Well, that's been Mack Brown's history. His Longhorns win the vast majority of the close games during his time. Texas won the toss and deferred, so Justin Tucker kicked off with a gusty wind behind his back. And Brandon Kinney took a knee in the middle of the end zone. Taylor Martinez, one of the stories of this college football season. Redshirt freshman from Southern California, leading the country in rushing touchdowns, yards per rush. He's had more carries of 20 yards or more than anybody in the country, 12 of them. He's 4th in the nation at 147.4 yards per game on the ground.
Don, for Taylor Martinez, for them to be effective, he's got to be patient. When he tries to do everything, they stumble a little bit against South Dakota. He needs to just let the offense take care of itself and let him do his part.
The best defense Nebraska will have faced this year. Roy Halou got the first carry of the ball game and got 3 yards. He was tackled by Sam Otto, the outstanding senior defensive end for the Longhorn defense. Terrific matchup today. Nebraska led by Martinez, number 2 in the country in rushing offense, better than 337 yards per game on the ground as a team, trailing only Air Force, and Texas 19th in the country in rush defense. Last year they led the nation in rush defense. Martinez in trouble and just did get rid of it before he's going to be sacked, and they might throw a flag for grounding. The referee has his hand in his pocket, and now they might rule him down as well. Here comes the flag instead, and it's going to be a grounding call as Alex Okafor just about had Martinez on the ground when he flipped it away to his right.
Intentional grounding, number 3 in the offense. Last one down at the spot of the foul, 3rd down.
That's a good job by Greg Birch, the referee there. He made sure that he saw what he saw and checked with the other official. And you can see right here, this is what you see. There's a control, there's grasp, he stopped. And so they were going to mark him down. And
he was down.
And then when he threw the ball, he turned it to the umpire. And that's when they threw the flag.
It looked like his knee was down with the ball still in his hand. The ball's marked at the 15, 3rd down and long. And it isn't necessarily a passing down for Nebraska. And Martinez nearly got the first down. Made it almost to the 29-yard line. Emmanuel Ocho, the brother of Sam. Emmanuel's an outside linebacker, made the stop 1 yard short of the first down yardage. So it's 3 and out. And here's Alex Henry, doubles as their place kicker, averaging 44.4 per punt, 19th best in the nation for the senior from Omaha. And Curtis Brown is back deep for the punt. He muffed the punt. Retrieved it back at the 20. And now gets some blocks. across the 45-yard line and walloped out of bounds far side near midfield. P.J. Smith knocked him out. So great field position for Garrett Gilbert, the quarterback of this sputtering Texas offense. His numbers aren't terrible. 63% completion, passing for 230 per game, but only 4 touchdown passes. That's tied with Nebraska for the fewest in the Big 12. And welcome to Lincoln. Deafening noise on the first play from scrimmage for Texas. They fake the reverse, and Gilbert is a decent runner, and the coaches would like him to run more often. Goes to the 43 for a gain of 4. Pierre Allen made the tackle for Nebraska. Fozzie Whitaker will be the starting running back, but we may see 3 or 4 different ball carriers. 3 wide receivers, including the speedy Goodwin. And the offensive line has been inconsistent according to the coaches. Kyle Hicks, the senior, at left tackle, his 34th career start. Whitaker, the ball carrier. He got spun around. He's very near a first down inside the 40 before he was driven back by Jared Crick, the preseason Big 12 Defensive Player of the Year. Part of a stout front 4 for the Cornhuskers, including Meredith Steinkuhler and Pierre Allen. Allen making his 31st career start. Essentially 2 linebackers. Gomes is both a safety and a linebacker. Lavonte David's their leading tackler. And arguably the best secondary in the country, led by Prince Amukamara, is going to be a very high draft pick. Gilbert on 3rd and inches, ahead for the first down, using his 6'4" frame.
You know, Sean, we said at the start that Garrett Gilbert is going to have to use his arm if this Texas offense is going to move. And the reason I said that is because they've been inconsistent in the run game. Offensive line, like you mentioned, they've not really played great. They're not an offensive line that moves people off the ball. And so Gilbert is going to have to be able to make the throws when they're there. His biggest thing is to just be patient. When he lacks patience, he misses reads.
3 wide receivers to his right in the bunch, and there's a quarterback draw for Gilbert. He's off to the races. Great move inside the 15. He was just tripped up by Alfonso Dennert, or that would have been a touchdown. Gilbert made it to the 10, and it's first down Texas.
One of the things that this Nebraska defense does extremely well is they run. This is the fastest defense in the NCAA. And so what you do is you use that against him. And so Gilbert, just a quarterback draw, they were in man coverage, backs are to the quarterback, he takes advantage of it.
25-yard run for Gilbert. Now he'll go under center with 3 receivers and Whitaker, the running back. James Kirkendall, the motion man. Whitaker, nothing, running to the right. Dejon Gomes with help from P.J. Smith. Nebraska and Nevada are the only 2 teams in the country that have not trailed at all this season. As a matter of fact, Nebraska's never even been tied this year after 0-0. So should Texas score here, it would be a new experience this season for Bo Pelini's Huskers. On 2nd and goal, Whitaker tripped up again at the line of scrimmage by Jared Crick.
You mentioned him, Sean, earlier. He's one of these guys. He's a big, powerful kid. He runs extremely well, but both he and Steinkuhler inside, they do a fantastic job of shielding their linebackers. They're very unselfish players, but when the play is there for them to be made, like you saw with Crick, they make it.
Texas doing it on the ground. They've scuffled all year to find a running game, and they haven't been very good in the red zone either. Only 10 touchdowns in 21 trips. Gilbert throws his first pass, incomplete. Looking for Mike Davis. Well covered by Eric Haig. And the field goal unit comes on for Mac Brown, much to his frustration.
One of the things that's going to happen with Gilbert today is the windows are going to be very small. Now that was a nice throw. They had coverage on him, but this Nebraska defense runs very well. They're excellent in coverage, and so all the windows that he's going to have to throw in today are going to be tight.
And he knew it. Garrett told us the other day accuracy is going to be vital today. 28-yard try for Justin Tucker. He's having a very good year. 9 out of 11. Trouble with the hold. But Cade McCreary didn't get it down, and the kick is good. And Nebraska trails for the first time this season. After the bobble, no problem for Tucker, the junior from Austin. Last regular season meeting as fellow members of the Big 12 for Texas and Nebraska. Two of college football's heavyweights. They've combined 9 national championships, 71 conference titles, 95 bowl appearances. Texas second all-time in wins behind Michigan, and Nebraska fourth on that list with Notre Dame in between the Longhorns and the Huskers. Garrett Gilbert moves his team 37 yards on the Longhorns' first possession. They settle for a field goal. And now Justin Tucker started to run up on it. And the wind, which is gusting up to 16 miles per hour, blew the ball off the tee. The Horns have the wind at their backs. And it looks like more than 16 miles per hour right now. The official weather report we got from Husker Sports Information has the wind north-northeast today, gusting to 16 on a 75-degree day in the capital of Nebraska, and the ball came off the tee again.
You know, Sean, there's a lot of great venues across this great country of ours, and a lot of teams have whiteouts and blackouts and all those outs, but this place right here tops them all because this red out is every week, and it's always sold out.
The Husker Athletics Department called for a red out all over the world, and fans have obliged. Niles Paul looking for running room as he brings back the kickoff, and it's well covered. He was tackled at the 21-yard line. 18-yard return by Paul. Brock Fitzhenry made the tackle. Here's the starting lineup on offense for Nebraska. Hallou's had 3 100-yard rushing games, with Kenny, Paul, and McNeil, the wide receivers, and Ben Cotton, an excellent blocker at tight end. Keith Williams having a great year at left guard. The offensive line, Caputo, a former walk-on, and Ricky Henry, a brawler at right guard. Martinez handed it off to Roy Hallou, and the ball comes out, and Texas has it. Well, Bo Pelini's biggest concern, the fumbles. That's the 19th fumble this year by Nebraska, only the 8th that they've lost, and Keenan Robinson came up with it.
They knew they had to get some help, and particularly early. They wanted to be able to get some confidence back into this team. They felt like they were lacking a little confidence, but Hallou comes down, got the ball in nice and tight, 4 points of pressure like you're supposed to. It looks like Eddie Jones right in the middle of that thing, and then they start tearing it out. Before he gets to the ground, the ball beats him to it, and now it's Texas ball.
Well, they've been fortunate, put the ball on the ground a lot, but hadn't lost many of them. Their 19th fumble, the 8th that they've lost.
Previous play is under further review. Ruling on the field was fumble.
So they'll go upstairs to the replay booth. And meanwhile, a rare takeaway by the Texas defense. Last year they forced 37 turnovers. That led the nation. This is only their 8th takeaway this season. They came in -5 in turnover margin.
Well, that's the definitive look right there, Sean. That will back why Texas got one of those numbers you're talking about. You know, ironically, putting the ball on the ground has been one of the bugaboos for Texas. And we saw it earlier in the punt game in particular. They put the ball on the ground. They talked about, they're talking about the Texas coaching staff, they talked about they need to get some confidence back into this team. They've kind of been on the reel. They lost a couple games. This is a big game. They got a lot of young players. They don't really have any big playmakers per se.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is first down.
And confidence is one of those things that swings the balance in a hurry.
It's so important with a team struggling for confidence right now after losses to UCLA and Oklahoma to get off to a good start in a very hostile environment on the road. There are the numbers we're talking about. Will Muschamp defensive to help the eye. They were playing in turnover margin national championship on the delay. Pause for three. Ricky Tenars, safety, made a nice comeback after a major knee injury last year, made the tackle.
You know, Sean, you and I were talking about this at lunch, but this Nebraska defense, this is probably the fastest defense in the entire NCAA. I don't care what level. Everybody runs extremely well. And so what Texas is doing to counter that is they're spreading them out. They're trying to move people across the field to get fewer numbers inside.
Going back to a spread passing game that's worked well for them in recent years. Gilbert throwing into single coverage. It is caught. James Kirkendall. And incomplete pass is the ruling. Might have lost it once he went down to the ground with Prince Amukamara in coverage.
Well, the Kirkendall on Amukamara, those are two outstanding players. And Amukamara, probably the top corner in the NCAA. And he's in the right position, just track the ball. Kirkendall comes down to it. Now remember, he has to maintain control all the way through. Any kind of bobble after he leaves the field, it would be ruled incomplete.
I would think they might give that a closer look. Made more difficult. It looked like it was sliding down there as he hit the ground. But they are going to look at it again. Made more difficult by the shadows.
Ruling on the field was incomplete pass.
You know, Sean, earlier, Quint down on the sideline told us at the start of the game that one of the things that Texas is going to want to do is go with more draws and screens. Well, early on here, the draw and draw fake have been big. They're trying to draw people in when they're throwing outside and spreading them out when they want to run inside.
It looked like the ball was sliding down there. It's tough to tell because he disappears into the shadows.
It's a phenomenal effort by Kirkendall to go get it.
It doesn't look like there the ball
looked like the ball popped out
ground.
right there. Yeah.
David Ames is the replay official today.
John, the other thing you like, and we talked about it a little bit, was he had to. There were going to be small windows. He had to be very accurate, like you mentioned. That was a great throw to the back corner of the end zone.
There's no doubt he has a terrific arm. And here comes the decision. Greg Burks, the referee.
After further review, ruling on the field is confirmed. Third down.
And another example of the replay process working. Great effort by Kirkendall, but he couldn't hang on. And now another third down. And this is that kind of yardage Mack Brown was talking about. You know, in years gone by, Vince Young or Colt McCoy could run for a first down in situations like this. They'd like Garrett Gilbert from time to time to pull it down and run for a first down.
He's been doing that early.
And there he goes. Not exactly reminiscent of Vince Young, but effective as he got to the 9-yard line and a first and goal for Texas.
Gilbert Martinez. Well, maybe not. But he looks like Taylor Martinez on the front end. He's decisive. Pulls it down, sees the lane. And then he turns into Bronco Nagurski right about there, a big Earl Campbell. Taking on the defensive back, but getting the first down. That's a huge play for Gilbert.
And a bad tackle there by Ricky Tenars did not wrap up, and that allowed Gilbert to get the first down. He's averaging 10.5 yards per rush, a la Taylor Martinez.
Changing it at the line.
Cody Johnson, the running back, and he powers down to the 3. They tend to go to him when they get near the goal line. He has 27 career rushing touchdowns, a bruiser at 5'11", 250 pounds.
You mentioned it, power, and that's what he's got. That's his asset, so that's what they use. And he's able to get that power and be effective there because this offensive line right now is handling the down linemen of Nebraska.
Second and goal from the 3. And a timeout has been called. Timeout called by Nebraska on their heels one of the few times this year. Students rush rushing in here hours before kickoff to get the best seats in the student section. Memorial Stadium, one of the great venues in all of college football. And Bo Pelini has turned this Nebraska program back around where you would expect it to be. With his team down 3-0, and Texas is looking for more. 2nd and goal from the 3. Fozzie Whitaker, the run back. They fake it, and Gilbert's going to walk in untouched. Great call by Greg Davis, and a touchdown for the Longhorns.
Greg Davis told us during the week, and he hammered the point home to Garrett Gilbert all week long. Remember, Garrett Gilbert was a 1,000-yard rusher in high school. He has run skill, and when the opportunity presents itself, they hammered into him. Take it. Use what you have. Use your assets. His feet are one of them. 6 points.
Texas a 9.5-point underdog, leading 9-0, and now 10-0 as Justin Tucker added the extra point.
Sean, you said a great call by Greg Davis. Let me show you why it was a great call. The first thing he does is he gets all the flow going this way defensively. Remember their speed. He's going to use it against them. So they start bringing it back this way, and then he keeps it, and that you'll see all the red shirts. Look at them go. There they go. Now, because of that, here it is. And you just take it in. See right there? Back to the ball. He can't defend it. Walk right in. Great call by Greg Davis, and it's executed to perfection by Garrett Gilbert.
Here's Greg Davis, been the offensive coordinator throughout Mack Brown's 13 years as head coach. It's Gilbert's first rushing touchdown of the season, his 2nd of his career. The sophomore from Austin, Texas. So Texas looking sharp after a bye week. They had last Saturday off after the loss to Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. Kickoff by Tucker through the back of the end zone, and we'll check in with Robert Flores in our Times Square studio in New York. Martinez keeps and gets dropped to the line of scrimmage by Keenan Robinson.
Sean, a few weeks back we had an opportunity to watch this Texas team against UCLA, and in the first half they handled that offense, and then what broke down with them was assignments. And so when you play an option team like Nebraska, it's assignment football, and they force you to tackle out in space. So far, Texas is playing it as well as it can be done.
They gave Martinez the 21, a gain of a yard. Handed it off that time to Rex Burkhead, the Texas native from Plano. Keenan Robinson and Aaron Williams combined on the tackle. Another short gain of a yard for Nebraska.
Will Muschamp, defensive coordinator, and you know, he and Bo Pelini are pretty good friends, and they like each other's defenses, and they run similar things, especially in coverage. They both have good speed on defense. They like to play some man, but they play a little matchup zone, and like I said, they talk about it a lot in the off seasons.
Nebraska 3 and out on their first possession, trying to avoid it again. 3rd down and 8. Martinez throws, and it is incomplete. Intended for Quincy Enunwa, the true freshman, and Blake Gideon broke it up.
That is a fantastic play by Blake Gideon coming from his safety spot. He has the outside, and he's going to make the break. He read the quarterback perfectly on Martinez, was on the throw. Watch him come over hand inside. It's good defense.
Now the junior from Leander, Texas, who started every game of his Texas career, all 32 of them now. Alex Henry on the punt into the wind. First punt traveled 41 yards. Curtis Brown had trouble with it. This is a very good kick into the wind, and Brown will just get away from it. It takes a Cornhusker bounce down to the 18-yard line. Down by Anthony West. 62-yard punt. Gilbert and the offense back on the field for Texas with a 10-0 lead after this. Others from inside the DirecTV mobile studio. We love having that bus here.
Yeah, not quite the Madden Cruiser. John always had a lot more food than they do.
First snap for Texas in its own territory. From the 19, Garrett Gilbert with a lot of time, throwing the single coverage, up for grabs and incomplete. Broken up by Alfonso Dennard. An outstanding cornerback. Marquise Goodwin is down. He was the intended receiver.
And he is their big player in the passing game. And you mentioned it, Sean. You know, there are two corners on this Nebraska team. Dennard on one side, Amukamara on the other. They're as good as they are at college football. Amukamara will probably be a very high pick in the NFL draft. And Dennard, same kind of style. He's still growing, has good strong hands and can run. Does a really nice job of taking things away with his body. He's understanding how to play it down the field, and they both track the ball well.
Would have been interesting to see him fully leap there, because Carl Pelini, the defensive coordinator, told us yesterday that Dennard has a 44-inch vertical. He's only about 5'10", but he makes up for that relative lack of height with leaping ability. The good news for Texas, Marquise Goodwin walking off the field under his own power. Great athlete, originally a track scholarship at Texas. He's the NCAA long jump champion. He can fly.
Well, he's got the great speed that can stretch this Nebraska defense.
You like the play calling.
This is impressive. This is going to be a humdinger.
Gilbert takes off running again. Clearly a big part of their game plan. And good yardage. He made the 25-yard line for a gain of 6 before he was chopped down near the boundary by P.J. Smith.
So, Sean, you mentioned it. Clearly part of the game plan. And so the design and that part of the game plan, what that will do is it will force Nebraska at one point to add an extra defender. They're going to have to account for the running of the quarterback sooner or later. And when that happens, you'd think you'd be able to throw down the field.
3rd down and 4. We'll see what Greg Davis has called for the Longhorns. A blitz from Texas, or from Nebraska rather, and a quick pass to Malcolm Williams lunging. It looks like they're going to give him a great spot. The crowd groans as the line judge walks it up near the 30-yard line. Wow, what a spot that was. Levante David and P.J. Smith combined on the stop, and it's a 1st down for Texas.
Well, they're going to spot it. The main spot comes from up here. And because this official's behind it. And so he marked it. That doesn't look like it's close.
No, if anything, he was straddling the yellow line when he caught it. He certainly wasn't nearly a yard beyond it where they marked it. Fozzie Whitaker, the ball carrier. Texas went quickly. And that was probably a smart maneuver as well. Whitaker got to the 33-yard line for a gain of about 3.
Marquise Goodwin back inside. Goodwin, rather. And again, here's his speed. And they're going to protect the speed a little bit by putting him in a bunch coverage, which forces you defensively to have to sit off a little bit. See it right up top.
2nd and 7. Handed off inside to Whitaker, and Baker Steinkuhler made the tackle, and we go to Quint Kessenich. Took advantage of the weekend off to go watch his younger brother Griffin play at his alma mater, Lake Travis High School in Austin. Griffin's a wide receiver. 3rd down. Gilbert throws. Bad throw. Too high and behind his intended target, Fozzie Whitaker. And Texas will punt for the first time in the ball game with 4:12 left in the 1st quarter, and the Horns leading 10-0.
Nebraska defense and Bo Pelini, Carl Pelini, defensive coordinator, on that 2nd down, he dialed up a blitz. They normally don't do that. This is a team that's been able to handle whatever teams have been giving them just with 4 people in the rush and then dropping the rest in coverage.
Miles Paul back for the punt from John Gold, a senior, averaging just under 43 yards per punt. Has the breeze at his back. And Paul let it hit right at the sideline near the 17-yard line. They'll mark it at the 18. And again, not great field position for Nebraska. College football continues tonight on ESPN. Terrell Pryor and the 1st-ranked Ohio State Buckeyes head to Madison for a tough road test against number 18 Wisconsin. College football primetime presented by Hampton Hotels tonight, 7 Eastern on ESPN. The game also available online and on your phone. We have a sea of red here. There will be a sea of red in Madison tonight. The great Pryor having a nice year. Heisman Trophy candidate, certainly.
We've certainly been watching him, Sean, grow from year to year. Each year he's gotten better. He's has more control of the offense, and he's always a threat with his run.
Martinez driven back to the line of scrimmage. And Ohio State, well, they're the #1 team. They don't lose on the road. They have won 13 straight road games when they've been the top-ranked team in the country.
And usually they do it with great defense, and they're doing it with offense and defense, much like we're seeing here out of this Texas Longhorn team today. This defense right now, I don't know if you can play this offense any better. They are playing fantastic assignment football, and they're tackling very well.
A lot of people off the Texas bandwagon at 3-2, but there's still a lot of athletes in this Texas program, particularly on the defense. Martinez, nowhere to throw it and nowhere to run. Back to the line of scrimmage, and that's all. Chased out by Alex Okafor.
And Keyston Randall really did a good job. And first is coverage, Sean. They take the coverage away down below, and then Keyston Randall stays with him. It's imperative when you're rushing Martinez, don't get past him. Don't get beyond him. Give yourself a chance. Watch Randall. Then he uses the sideline as his friend, and it's tackled by the sideline. But look at the coverage down the field. Nowhere to go. Going to have to see the whole field. It's not going to happen. They're all over Niles Paul. Very well done.
Well, Mac Brown said before the year this had a chance to be the best defense he's had at Texas. Martinez couldn't find a receiver. Takes off running and has the first down. Explosive speed. Kenny Vaccaro tripped him up in the open field. The first down for Nebraska.
One of the things that this Texas defense wanted to be able to do is turn it into a one-sided game, and that they wanted it to be the passing game. Well, one of the byproducts of your great coverage is you force Martinez to pull it down and run, and then it turns into a running game.
14-yard gain. Tom Osborne, the legendary Nebraska coach, now the athletic director, said he's never seen anybody with as much initial speed first 3 steps as Taylor Martinez possesses. Niles Paul broke a tackle, and he's pulled down after about an 8-yard gain. They'll give him 9 yards to the 41-yard line, yanked down by Aaron Williams.
What a good-looking rascal that Niles Paul is. We had a chance to sit and talk with him, but this guy is pure football player, and he's an unselfish player. I'm talking about Taylor Martinez, he wants to win. And so he came here to catch footballs and become a receiver, and he'll play at the next level. But he's turned into a great blocker because they know that Martinez, to the next level, you've got to block for him to spring the big one.
Just 12 catches this year. He had 40 last year. He's happy to be a blocker as long as they keep scoring and winning. Roy Halou Jr. gets him the first down, and we get it back to Robert in our Times Square studio. And here it's 10-0 Texas. Ticking down to a minute and a half left in the first quarter. Martinez, good play action fake. Receiver wide open, and Niles Paul dropped it.
Yeah, he needed to lead him, Sean. Had he led him, he'd probably still be running. The ball was on his back hip. Now, the type of receiver that Paul is, you see him on the crossing route, he's good enough to make that play. He's got to make that play. It's wide open. Yes, the throw is not there. It should have been a better throw, but Niles Paul is a talented enough player to turn that into a big play.
When we shook hands with Niles yesterday, you remarked he had very small hands, and he was very sensitive about that.
Yeah,
he's usually a very sure-handed receiver, despite the fact that he does not have particularly large hands. Back to the run with Roy Halou to the 49-yard line for a gain of 4.
One thing that the Longhorns wanted to be able to do is get Nebraska into third and plus, more than 5. And they can get them in that. They wanted to be able to make Martinez have to throw the football. Now, they've had coverage in the last 2 previous series, but his legs have beaten him. So let's see what they try to do to try to take that part away.
3rd down and 6, a minute to go first quarter. Nebraska with the ball down 10-0. Martinez throws short. Now Paul held on to the ball, broke a tackle, and has a first down inside the 30. Christian Scott made the stop for Texas.
Nice this route by Paul is just an arrow. It's going to be in and then back out. It's designed to be able to get the defender on your inside hip. And once he does, the ball's thrown to the outside, and then Paul just does the rest. Good protection. See how they're rushing him. They don't want to get beyond the quarterback. They're keeping him in front of him.
23-yard play for Paul, senior from Omaha, one of 13 children. One of the hardest parts of his week is finding tickets for all of his relatives who want to come to the games here at sold-out Memorial Stadium. Burkhead dropped for a loss by a fired-up Sam Acho, and will likely be the last play of the first quarter. Texas has reason to be fired up. They limped in here, losers of 2 straight, unranked for the first time in a decade, but leading number 5 Nebraska 10-0 at the end of a quarter. Texas demonstrating it has a lot of character. Came in here having lost 2 in a row. They lead 10-0 as we go to the second quarter. Nebraska on the move. Second and long. Man wide open. Taylor Martinez. Incomplete pass dropped by the normally sure-handed Rex Burkhead, who was all alone down the far sideline.
Burkhead is, you said it, wide open, all alone, all by himself. Watch Burkhead. He's going to go right down the outside. This is going to have to really be picked up. It gets lost. Did you see how they went to three defenders there? Perfectly thrown ball. Should have been 6. Burkhead's the first one to know it.
He's a Texas product from Plano. Was recruited by Texas. Took a visit there. Martinez collared after a short gain. 3rd down and 12, and they go to a quarterback run, and Acho and Robinson were ready for Taylor Martinez. Nebraska's rushed for only 34 yards so far.
And those 2 names you said are a big reason why. Acho has been everywhere in this first quarter, as has Robinson. Both of them playing extremely well. But that kid right there, Sam Acho, he's special. That's a special player.
Here's a special kicker, Alex Henry, the senior from Omaha. Missed only 7 field goals in his career. 5 of those have been from 50-plus. This is a 45-yarder. And it's just about a gimme for him. He's made 13 field goals in a row now. It's his 55th career field goal, 2 shy of the Nebraska record held by Chris Brown, an 11-year NFL veteran. And Nebraska's on the board. It's 10-3. Well, Texas has come in here and ended some long Nebraska home winning streaks over the years. They did it in 1998, led by Ricky Williams, who rushed for 150 yards in that ball game. A 20-16 upset victory over the 7th-ranked Huskers. That ended a 47-game home winning streak for Nebraska. And Mack Brown said he was so impressed. That was the first team he brought to Lincoln as head coach of Texas. Ricky Williams doing some interviews on the field after the game. A lot of the fans were still here for Nebraska. When Ricky was running off, Mack wondered if he should put his helmet on, afraid of what might happen from the stands. And instead, these great fans here chanted Heisman, Heisman at an opposing player, Ricky Williams, as he ran off the field.
Yeah, they appreciate great play all the way around. And this is, you know, I got to say, Sean, this might be the best in all of college football right here.
There's none better, certainly. Maybe there's some that equal it, but there's nothing better than these fans in this atmosphere. Sold out every home game since 1962. Bob DeManny's first year as coach. Adi Kunalik boots it through the back of the end zone. No chance for Marquise Goodwin to bring that one back. Time for our first Pacific Left game summary of the day. And the big number, the 32 rushing yards for Nebraska. 2nd in the country in rushing, averaging 337 yards per game on the ground. But this talented and well-coached Texas defense winning those battles.
And then offensively for Texas, it's the feet of Garrett Gilbert. And that's been the difference so far in this game.
So we thought quarterback runs might be the difference, but we thought it would be by the guy on the other team. They turn up the volume on Garrett Gilbert again. Oh, they had that play. Beautiful fake, and then Whitaker came open with a lot of running room, and the throw just a little bit too short, where he had plenty of room to run.
I couldn't quite catch the number. They came in motion. He comes right off. It's I couldn't see it there, but it's well done defensively. And Gilbert knew where he had to go, and he had him back underneath. It was Hag, 28.
And Kirkendall was the motion man who helped set up that play. Great creativity in the play calling today. Posey Whitaker carries, and Greg Davis has come under some heat for being a little conservative in the play calling. He admits that perhaps with Gilbert, a first-year starter, 3 new starters on the offensive line, he's been a little reluctant to open it up here to 4, but with a couple of losses now, clearly the playbook is more wide open today.
Well, he's going to put more on the shoulders of this guy right here, Gilbert.
He was one of the most highly recruited quarterbacks in the country coming out of Lake Travis in Austin. Won National Player of the Year honors. On 3rd and 7, ball deflected and falls incomplete. Intended for Mike Davis, batted down by Eric Haig.
John, normally they like to go with 4 down people, and they just like to push the pocket. This time they go with 3 down. They stand up Jared Crick, but they still are able to get in front of him so he doesn't have a pure throwing lane. Carl Pelini believes that if you take the throwing lanes away from him and force the quarterback to move, that's when you get your sacks.
Haig with the coverage. Ball deflected the line of scrimmage. Niles Paul back for the punt from Justin Tucker. Rugby style punt. And with some backspin, Paul got away from it. Down at the 37-yard line. Javante Johnson, 40-yard punt. Nebraska back on the field, down by a touchdown. Back in Lincoln, Nebraska. Time for today's Aflac trivia question. With Taylor Martinez emerging as a Heisman Trophy candidate, we want to know what is the highest a freshman has ever finished in the Heisman Trophy balloting. Certainly Taylor in the conversation after a 5-0 start with the great numbers he's put up. And a chance on the national stage today. They hand it off to Niles Paul, and he's driven out of bounds. Virtually no gain. Emmanuel Acho played it well.
Sam Acho and Emmanuel Acho, both of them, brothers, and playing. They both are very smart players. Very rarely do they put themselves in poor positions. They're those type of players that a coach can count on, because he's always going to do exactly what they're supposed to do.
Emmanuel Acho coming off a huge game against Oklahoma. 17 tackles, a career high, 5 of them for a loss. Martinez kept it and got buried for a loss. Back at the 35 by Keyston Randall.
Sean, we've seen this a few times. Last time by Acho, Sam Acho, this time by Keyston Randall. This is what we were talking about earlier in terms of assignment football. Now, if you're a fan at home and you're saying, oh, heck, they didn't even block him. Well, that's by design. That's the guy they're going to let free, and they're giving that to the quarterback read. In these last 2 instances, Martinez has not made the proper read, but these defenders have done what they're supposed to.
Another 3rd down and long. 3rd and 13. They've averaged better than 10 yards to go on 3rd down. It might be longer now with movement on the right side of the line.
Paul Step, number 73, the offense. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
DJ Jones, the right tackle, senior from Omaha.
Oh, DJ Jones a little jumpy because guess who's over him? Sam Acho. When I hear that name, Sean, you just want to say,
You think
Acho, man. You just want to say it. I'm not going to do that, though.
So I thought you were going to go for nachos because I know how you like to eat.
A good point by you.
Acho man. Well, they are 2 brothers on the defense. They're Acho men. Niles Paul Good run after the catch, but he had too far to go to get the first down. Aaron Williams banged him down across the 40. 11-yard gain, but they're still about 7 short of the first down. So here's Alex Henry to punt for the third time. Curtis Brown back for the punt. Aiming for the corner, and he did well. The official still running. Oh boy.
The wind got a hold of that one, Sean.
Wow, we must have a bad angle, because I would have been convinced that ball was going to be marked around the 10-yard line. They're going to spot it at the 22. 37-yard punt for Henry. Comparisons between Taylor Martinez and Eric Crouch with their great running ability. Ozzie Whitaker showing some excellent running ability. Stayed on his feet. Late flag comes in as he goes down at the 28-yard line after a 6-yard gain, tackled by Ricky Tenarce.
All three of those guys, Sean, were tremendous college football players, but one, Johnny Rodgers, was electric. He was off the charts.
We're also honoring the 1970 Nebraska National Championship team here this weekend.
Personal foul, face mask, number 3 of the defense. 15 from the end of the run, first down.
Apparently on the tackle, Tenarce grabbed the face mask of Whitaker.
Well, he got it. Got on the top of it. And they're going to call that in college football right away. Heck, they call that at all levels.
Well, the rule book, it says if there's any question, it is to be called. It looked like there's some question there. It's tough to tell. There's just the top of the helmet for the face mask. But if in doubt, they are supposed to throw the flag, and they did. So from the 44, Garrett Gilbert threw it into a crowd at the feet of Malcolm Williams. Gilbert got spilled as he got it off. It'll be 2nd and 10, early second quarter. Gilbert and Longhorns leading 5th-ranked Nebraska 10-3.
And I've been impressed with the discipline of both defenses. Pierre Allen at that time being exactly where he has to be. You've seen the discipline from the Texas defenders, and you're also seeing it out of this Nebraska defense. Both teams very well coached.
And this Nebraska defense built first to stop the pass, and Gilbert's just 1 out of 8 today for 5 yards, and in trouble again. Well, that running ability again. He got banged out of bounds on the far sideline by Lavonte David. Next time, Garrett might just want to make a right turn and go out of bounds. David helped him with emphasis across the boundary at the 49.
And here's your emphasis right there. And that's a clean hit. He's still in bounds. He's on his way out. But you're not going to run away from Lavonte David. This guy can flat out fly. Just talking to him yesterday, what a great kid. And he is having a tremendous year, Sean. But they say that he is an even better kid than a player.
First year here at Nebraska as a junior college transfer. Junior from Miami, went to Fort Scott in Kansas. 3rd and 5. And a timeout called. And there's also a flag in the secondary. I think they were going to call delay a game.
There is no foul for delay. Timeout, Texas.
They got the timeout first. A countdown served by Applebee's. More information, log on to ESPN.com.
Well, so far in this game, Garrett Gilbert has looked like Vince Young on a couple third downs.
Rushed for 56 yards and a touchdown. Will he run again on 3rd down and 5? Stands in the pocket, throws for a first down and much more. Inside the 30 and off to the races. Whitaker taken down from behind by Prince Amukamara to save a touchdown. He made it to the 10-yard line.
John, the whole thing starts because the offensive line gave him great protection and a throwing lane. Watching the top and see the lane right there. Look at that. Perfect. He's able to find Whitaker down inside, and then Whitaker, of course, does the rest. Just a circle route out of the backfield.
41-yard gain, longest reception for Whitaker, who's a good pass receiver out of the backfield. Cody Johnson takes his place in the backfield now. He takes the handoff from Gilbert and powers his way inside the 5, wrapped up by P.J. Smith.
You know, in that last route, Sean, Fozzie Whitaker ended up using Levante David's speed against him. David got a little bit too high, and you know, fast guys, they need to learn how to come inside. Everybody does, really, but inside out on that receiver. He wasn't able to get into that position. Whitaker took the inside hard.
Second and goal for Texas. Trying to take its largest lead of the day. They led 10-0. Trying to go up by 14 here, and down to the goal line. Johnson. No signal for a touchdown yet. They're going to mark him inches short.
Well, what's really impressive about this is they're running right at the inside. Baker, Steinkuhler, and Jared Crick.
They go quickly and score a touchdown. Good work by Texas. Nebraska still milling about defensively. And Garrett Gilbert keeps and scores his second touchdown of the season, rushing both today. He's the running quarterback. That's been the star of the day so far, and it's a 2-touchdown lead for Texas.
And that was smart football, Sean. You said it. They go quickly. They caught Nebraska not quite ready. They just snapped the ball, and boom, he's into the end zone.
And Justin Tucker will try to make it a 14-point lead. Movement, flag down. Kick is good. Looked like Nebraska was moving.
Defense was offsides. That penalty's declined. Try is good. Timeout.
Garrett Gilbert takes the plunge from a couple of inches from the goal line, and it's a stunner right now in Lincoln.
The new spicy chicken sandwich, now at Chick-fil-A.
Back in Lincoln, we're just seconds after Cody Johnson was stopped just short of the goal line by Nebraska. And it looked like a good spot because his knee's down and the ball was inches shy of the goal line. Texas came up quickly. I was a little surprised, Matt, because I thought they might wait for a replay review to see if the previous play was a touchdown. But Gilbert went in. If Gilbert had been stuffed, he could have raised the question, did they cost themselves perhaps a replay review that would have given them a touchdown on Johnson's play?
And what they did, though, what Gilbert did a great job of, though, when he got to the line of scrimmage and they were going to go with the quick count, he was able to see to his right the void. And that's what he allowed his offensive line to get into the blocks, and then he just slipped to that void and got the 6.
There's Justin Tucker to kick off. Squib kick. Caught on the bounce by Niles Paul, and he's tripped up. Kenny Vaccaro down there like a rocket. Tripped up Paul near the 25-yard line. Well, we said heading to the break, a stunner right now in Lincoln. Stunning, not so much that Texas is ahead, but certainly the 2-touchdown edge is surprising. Because of the question coming in, yes, Nebraska was 5-0, but they have not really played a particularly difficult schedule. Western Kentucky, Idaho, and South Dakota State here. Road wins at Washington and Kansas State. So you knew this was going to be by far Bo Pelini's biggest test of the season. And a team that has a lot of talent, despite the disappointing 3-2 record. Roy Halou ahead for a couple to the 27-yard line.
And you know, Sean, part of that disappointing record was a loss to UCLA. And that UCLA loss really opened their eyes, because it was an offense and has similarities with this, and they really got a little lazy defensively. And that's really what got them, because you know, remember that game in the first half they played them perfectly. In the second half they took a couple of bites on the fake and the cheese, and it was over.
Will Muschamp said that was such a strange game because UCLA in the second half ran basically the same plays against the same Texas defenses. They were much more effective in the second half. Paul's wide open. fell down after catching it, but it's a big gainer. Well thrown ball. You know, the delivery doesn't look particularly good from Taylor Martinez, but the coaches say it's a very quick release, and he has plenty on the ball. And you see that was a line drive strike for a 25-yard completion.
And Sean Watson, the offensive coordinator from Nebraska, goes right back to what he'd done earlier when Niles threw it behind him. There's ample time to throw. This time it's a strike.
And if he hit him right in stride, it would have been a bigger gainer for some run after the catch. Kalu across midfield. He's to the Texas 48 for a gain of 5. And now Sean Watson going to a new wrinkle. They haven't shown no huddle and the hurry up this year. Even holding that back in the arsenal. But Texas ready for it. Oklahoma hit Texas with the hurry up with impact in the Red River rivalry. Martinez makes something out of nothing. They're going to mark it at the 45-yard line. 3-yard gain. It'll be 3rd down and 2 midway through the second quarter.
Of course, he ran about 35 yards and picked up 8. And that's what drives you crazy about quarterbacks like Martinez. And he does. I mean, this guy, you said it earlier, Sean, when the coaches were talking about how fast he gets to full speed. 3 steps, and he's there.
And they had a great feature on game day this morning. John Brinkus of Sports Science said he gets to full speed and 75% of his full speed in 3 steps. Kalu gets the first down, and that is uncommon initial quickness for Taylor Martinez. 3 steps, and he's already at 75% of what would be his full speed.
And that's rare. I was around one other guy in all my years of playing who could do that. He could do it in 2 steps. His name was Vincent Bo Jackson, and a big man on top of him.
Keenan Robinson is down. Plano, Texas, where he resides now, but he was born in Omaha, Nebraska, and as a young boy he had an uncle who used to bring him over here to Lincoln for fan day. He'd meet the Nebraska players, get their autographs. He lived in this area until he was about 6 years old before moving to Texas.
Well, he's an active player, and they need him to play well in order for this defense to play well. You're going to see him right there, number 1. He's going to be tracking that ball, and it looks like he goes head-to-head with his own guy, Blake Gideon. Kalu does the old Kalu goodbye, and they hit each other right in the noggin.
It's hard to believe Gideon wasn't shaken up on the play as well. Keenan Robinson is their leading tackler for the season and their leading returning tackler from their great defense of last year, which lost 4 starters to the NFL draft.
And Sean, he did not play well in the second half of that UCLA game. He did not play well. And Jackson Jeffcoat did not play well. And Eddie Jones. Those 3, they made some atypical mistakes.
Yeah, they counted, the coaches, about 18 missed tackles in the second half of that UCLA game. And a lot of missed assignments. Guys just in the wrong place. After they basically stuffed UCLA in the first half of that game, held them to 77 yards of offense.
And they've done the same thing here in the first half so far to this Husker offense. They've been like Task Force Storm, like down there in Fort Polk. They've been all over the place.
Well, Bo Pelini said yesterday, we probably haven't played a defense yet that had the speed to run us down. When guys like Kalu and Burkhead and particularly Martinez get in the clear, they're going to run away from most teams. But these Texas defenders have the speed to run down plays. The Will Muschamp. Robinson walked off the field, looked a little bit wobbly. 1st and 10. Martinez in trouble and pulled down by Emmanuel Acho behind the line of scrimmage.
That's the team speed we're talking about. Perfect illustration of what you just said. This team can flat out run. Nebraska, same way. But Nebraska offensively has not, particularly Martinez, has not seen this kind of defensive speed.
And Taylor is 18 yards rushing on 10 carries. Going to throw a deep ball. Has a man behind the defense. It's Niles Paul, and it's incomplete. Christian Scott, the safety, had the coverage.
Martinez knew where he wanted to go. He knew he was man up on the outside. He's going to turn it over to Scott. He's got half a step. He throws it to the inside. Oh, I don't know if he tracked that well enough, Sean. Oh, it's right through his hands. Right through his hands. You've got to make that catch. That's a really well thrown ball by Martinez.
Yes, it was. Hicks was looking back into the sun. Don't know if that was a factor or not, but clearly a ball that should have been caught. Another third down and long, 3rd and 15, and that pass is incomplete, intended for Brandon Kinney. Husker Nation wants a flag on Shockey Brown. They're not going to get it.
And the reason is because the ball's thrown behind him, and Shockey Brown had good coverage on him. You're going to watch, he's going to hold the outside position, which means you're going to want to take that inside throw. Shockey Brown gets a hand on it. Well defensed.
Well, these Husker fans who are still smarting over that second being put back on the clock in the Big 12 title game. Not real happy with the officiating here today either so far. Texas has not been penalized. Good punt by Henry. John Gomes tried to down it and could not. It looked like they had a great chance to get it inside the 2. But they failed. So now it's time for the answer to today's Aflac trivia question. The highest freshman has ever finished in the Heisman Trophy voting is 3rd, and it's happened 3 times. And I was surprised at one of them, but you knew Clint Castleberry because you played against him.
Yeah, he was pretty good too.
Running back at Georgia Tech back in 1942. Herschel Walker we both got in 1980, and Michael Vick in 1999 leading the Virginia Tech Hokies.
Old CC, that's what we like to call him, Clint. You know, Clint Castleberry, even though his last name was a cake, was not a big deal, but he could go.
And Martinez's candidacy taking some damage to this point today, but a long way to go. And here's Garrett Gilbert, who really does think he's Vince Young all of a sudden. You know, they put the sports science clock on Taylor Martinez. I don't think we'll see a sports science segment about the speed of Garrett Gilbert, but he has been effective today.
Because his decision making has been very good.
And they're going quickly up to the line of scrimmage again, and this time Nebraska was set and ready, and Whitaker was dropped by Cameron Meredith and Levante David for a loss.
Cameron Meredith, that defensive end, just a strong, powerful kid, and they do a great job. We talked about those 4th down guys. They do a great job for the next level. Those linebackers. Gomes is really a safety, and he's dropped down, number 7, and then Levante David. Levante David goes about maybe 215, and Gomes goes about 210, and they both can really run and have great instinct. But it's made possible, their game is, by the defensive line.
Out of the gun on 3rd and 7. Garrett Gilbert steps into a throw, and it's almost intercepted. Great move on the ball by Alfonso Dennard. Marquise Goodwin, the intended receiver.
Now we've talked about those corners. Abu Kamara on one side, Alfonso Dennard on the other. They will track you.
Nebraska's intercepted a pass in 9 straight games. They don't have a pick yet today. John Gold, the punt. Gold and Tucker have handled the punting chores, almost equally divided this year. Gold hits a bomb. Niles Paul along the sideline. Good return. Shot down at the 43-yard line. There is a flag down. 48-yard punt, 18-yard return.
Looks like Niles Paul's downs also. That was a gutsy move on the sideline, Sean. He was able to get there. He faked out the first guy and then got to that left sideline.
It's actually a 58-yard punt. And Paul helped off. There's a flag on the return. And Keenan Robinson is heading for the locker room.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Number 39 of the receiving team. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
Justin Blatchford called for the illegal block, and there it is. pushing one of the Texas players across the boundary. Hit Alex Zumberge in the back, who was the snapper. Kenny Vaccaro was slow to come off the field for Texas. He's an important defensive back for them. He's not on the field right now. Martinez got stopped in his tracks by Blake Gideon. The crowd didn't like the little celebration by Gideon at the end of the play. It's good for a 5-yard gain for Taylor Martinez.
Well, Martinez this time, he keeps it himself. But Blake Gideon, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good physical tackle all the way around, and he ran the lane from the back of that, from that safety spot all the way through.
Gideon, the son of a coach, his dad coached at his high school, Leander, just outside Austin. Martinez kept it, lost the football. Still free. Aaron Williams banged it out. And it looked like Mike Caputo, the center, got it back. And Nebraska so often this year fortunate they put it on the ground time after time. More often than not, they recover their own fumbles.
And Martinez, he's going to hold on to it. But as you watch him scramble, and you're right, Caputo comes up with it. But Martinez is not finding the room he's been accustomed to, again, because of the way this defense runs for Texas.
3rd down and 5. Nearing 3 minutes to go in the half. Martinez in traffic and incomplete. Intended for Brandon Kinney.
Sean, we said out in Washington when we had an opportunity to watch this Nebraska offense, we thought that the only chink in the offense for Nebraska was if they had to throw the football, because Martinez is not an accomplished thrower yet. That's the position that Texas has been able to put them in.
Here's Henry to punt. Even with this gusty wind, these punters are making it tough to tell which way the wind's blowing. Looks like Henry had the wind at his back, and he bombed one down to the 13-yard line. 54-yard punt. With a win last week in California, Tony Stewart has reemerged as a championship contender, but Jimmy Johnson's 3rd-place finish helped him increase his points lead. It's the chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continuing with the Bank of America 500 at Charlotte tonight, 7:30 Eastern Time on ABC, and coverage begins with NASCAR Countdown at 7 Eastern. Of course, Denny Hamlin was the points leader when the chase began. Here's Fozzie Whitaker. Texas with the ball, a 2-touchdown lead and 2 timeouts left. Whitaker made it to the 17-yard line for a gain of 4. The children of the corn are not happy.
A couple of sad colonels right there.
Saw on game day this morning, they have a fan who's here today who flew here from Bangkok, more than 8,000 miles.
I said he wasn't going to pay the bills. He wanted to get to the game.
At 19 hours of the year plus layovers. Here's Trey Newton. Flags down. Newton's down near the 1st down marker, but there's a flag back in the offensive backfield. P.J. Smith made the stop. And Carl Pelini out on the field as if to say about time you called a penalty on them.
10-yard penalty. Check it out.
The mock cheer goes up from this Nebraska crowd. Of course, this is their last season in the Big 12. And Texas has been hurting itself with penalties. They had 9 penalties in a loss to UCLA. Excuse me, last week against Oklahoma. 5 turnovers against UCLA. So it's 2nd and 14. Fozzie Whitaker out to the 14-yard line. Looks like Nebraska next year will be in the Big Ten. They're going to use a timeout.
Yeah, Bo Pelini started calling that one at about the 30-yard line. Had to run all the way down to about the 14 to get it called.
They want to get the ball back, down by 14 points with less than 2 minutes to go in the half.
How do you go about changing the world, you start with one molecule, one word, one brushstroke, one purpose. The University of Texas at Austin. What starts here changes the world.
We're back in Lincoln, Nebraska. Fozzie Whitaker getting a moment of attention from the medical staff. It looks like he's all right. Sean McDonough with Matt Millen, Quint Kesnick on the sideline. Our producer Bo Garrett, our director Mike Roig, our terrific ABC, ESPN crew. Delighted to have you with us on a beautiful day in the Nebraska capital. Bo Pelini's 5th-ranked undefeated Cornhuskers down by 14. He just used timeout, hoping to get a stop here on 3rd and 10 and get the ball back. And it's Newton for a first down. Conservative play call, and they still were able to pick up the first down as Newton ran right through the middle of that Nebraska defense.
They went 2 by 2, 2 receivers on both sides, and so it's just 5 on 5 on the inside, and Texas wins. Everybody on a man, everybody stays there, and then Newton just finds his way.
Good work by that offensive line that's been criticized for not being particularly physical or forceful in the run game. They came in 83rd in the country rushing the football. They're having a big half on the ground, and Garrett Gilbert's been a big part of that. He's out to the 33-yard line, and you wonder if Texas will pick up the pace here with 2 timeouts and the field position improving.
Yeah, they like their 14-point lead, but it never hurts to get more points, especially against an offense that can score fast.
Right now they're showing the look of a team that's satisfied with that 2-touchdown advantage. Play clock down to 10, 45 seconds left in the half. That's a first down for Trey Newton, wrestled down by Baker Steinkuhler. I think out here at the 38-yard line, if I'm Texas now, I hurry up, don't you?
Yeah, you would think you would, because I got to tell you, Sean, David Snow, the center, Mason Walters, the right guard, 63 Michael Huey, the left guard. They have handled Baker Steinkuhler and Jared Crick on the inside, and that's the strength of that Nebraska defense. So the inside 3 of Texas has played very, very well.
Well, I'm surprised by this.
So am I.
Even if you run a conservative running play, they've been breaking a few of those for 10, 12, 15 yards.
Well, it just sets it up for a great second half. Can't wait to see the adjustments, see the way this thing's going to go.
Impressive first half by Texas. Their best half of the season. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Coach, how do you best describe the mistakes, the fumble, the penalties, the 2 drops?
You know, you got to make plays in this game, and we didn't. We had our opportunities in that first half. We didn't make plays. We gave them some things, and we just got to settle down and play. It's a lot. We got a lot of football left.
44 yards rushing. What needs to change in your run game?
We got to make the right reads, and we haven't done that a lot. And we just got to clean up our football. When we do that, we'll be fine.
Thanks, Coach.
That's what Bo Pelini told us yesterday. He said even though we're 5-0, we've been too sloppy for my liking, and some sloppiness in the first half today. 17-3 Texas at the half. Stay tuned for a complete halftime report after these messages.